Okay. Mordred's community multiplayer. Post session 2, years 1500. I have not watched the video on demand yet. So this will be an interesting look at things. We'll take a quick look. Great Powers, Keterata, one of the people in Halis, Tekakagon, Command, Riveria, Bimlau, Vern, and Aurelium. So all players except for the Command. Malaknar looking pretty thick right now. Dealing with a little bit of issues, but quite a bit larger than where they were last time we looked. Working their way through their mission tree pretty aggressively as well. Looks like this one is basically done. Yeah, as soon as this is cored. So yeah, moving through their mission tree. Part of me wonders, is it too late to seed someone in what becomes Aordand? Maybe, maybe not, depending on the save edits. So Malaknar, quite large. Max manpower, still relatively low. Keeping up on tech. Working their way through quality and expansion ideas. And then down to the south, we've got Dekakagon, a little bit larger than Malaknar. Good eco. What was Malaknar's eco? Pretty weak at this point. Paying a ton for forts. Not a ton of debt or anything. Let's see. Exploration and offensive. Okay, they're at war over here. Oh, it looks like they chose to ally with their new friends. And then I noticed something odd on the Skanderbeg. It looked like... Okay, maybe that's just a Skanderbeg issue. This is the Jaharian Exemplar tag. Doing fine so far. Pretty large manpower pool, considering their size. I'd expect them to expand heavily this direction and leave most of this for Dekakagon. We'll see. And then we have our first entry from the old world. Duran and Riveria both creeping in. So there are a number of folks here with colonial type missions. Duran and Riveria obviously have a leg up just based on their geography and have taken advantage of it. We'll see Rosalard. What expansion ideas? That's an interesting choice. Not sure what they're going to do with that colonist. Neckliffe went exploration, but don't have any colonies. Vern did not go. Okay, and then BPEC, yeah. Okay, so it looks like it'll probably just be maybe Neckliffe trying to compete, but it might be too little too late at this point. And then the dynamic's going to be, do the North and the South unite against the Old World? Do they each look to pair up with some folks in the Old World to participate in some of those wars? It's going to be an interesting political dynamic there to keep an eye on. But right now, no tension as of yet. Let's take a look at Duran. Decent eco. Big manpower pool. Is that... Yeah. This is very rich land here. Obviously, a lot of the former Laurentish stuff that we've got. Once again, still allied with Riveria, who, as we believe, yeah, still probably gonna go Gnomish Hierarchy at some point. Maybe once they take care of a juicy mission with a permanent bonus, something like that. We'll see. Does look like they expanded heavily into the Trolls. Trolls and Vikings, obviously, probably dead now. But I want to take a look at the culture map mode. Okay, so looks like BPEC is expanding upon cultural lines. So maybe we've found some peace here between these groups. We'll see what happens. Looks like Rosalard and Neckliffe are allied, and then they've got Gowid. Gowid's still pretty big. It'll be interesting. Obviously, I think Let's see how strong they are. Yeah, still troublesome to deal with from an AI perspective, so nothing to sneeze at. And then BPEC allied with Arbran, extremely strong alliance here, um, economically as well as militarily, two pretty strong countries. So we've got we'll call this the exploration block. We've got the Western Imperials, and then the Northern Imperials. It's still a little bit empty here, but we'll see. We're all over the place a little bit, but okay. Riveria, a little bit stronger eco than Duran. Good manpower pool. Yeah, what ideas are we going? Exploration and innovative, exploration and offensive. BPEC I'd expect to be very rich. Yeah, extremely rich at this point. Hustling through ideas. Good number of advisors. Probably would never focus admin or not unless you've got an idea group you're racing through, but that's personal preference. Roselard, yeah, a little bit poorer than the expansion or the exploration block. Manpower pool a little bit smaller. Neckliffe, ooh, relatively weak eco. It seems like they kind of got shafted here. Roselard obviously took a chunk out of Laurent. Wex, which has now become Demaria, has taken a chunk out of Wisdom. And then Vern, obviously, is Vern. So it seems like Neckliffe's odd man out. They may be going for like a naval focus. No, they went... Hmm. I, I don't know. Offensive probably doesn't make a ton of sense. It probably makes sense to play as the Empire's navy. But, yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's relatively weak ally for Roselard. But obviously you've got the ability to call the Emperor in. Huge manpower pool still due to the number of states and free cities, etc. Going diplomatic and quality. Allied with just Vern right now. Even though this idea group, I believe, gives them an additional player alliance. So that'll be interesting. I think at some point they might have been allied to Kvaria. But yeah, we'll see moving forward. Let's see how their eco is. Very strong. Yeah, up on tech and ideas. So yeah, strong position for Demaria. Vern, wow, very strong eco as well. Up on tech and ideas. Yeah, so Vern's in a really strong position here in the south. They are currently allied with, yeah, Demaria, Shigamber. Potentially allied with Shigamber just to prevent Tornin from expanding in that direction. We'll see. Kvaria obviously has cut Tornin off in the north. Tornin, oh, has allied with Kvaria and Silverforge. Yeah, it went influence and got the additional relation. So that's an interesting dynamic. Is there some sort of tension here between Demaria, Vern, and then Kvaria, Tornin, and Silverforge? Are they? We'll see. I think a lot would depend on what becomes of Shigamber in the next session. That'll tell us a little more about the diplomatic relations there. Let's see how Tornin's doing. Manpower pool, relatively small, relatively weak eco. Up to date on tech and ideas, though. Our friends Kvaria, decent manpower pool, a little bit behind on ideas. Not the strongest eco. Probably should do something about these colonies that are super freaking expensive. And then Silverforge is the third player in that block. Yeah, relatively. So this block's definitely weaker. Demaria and Vern, much stronger than Torrin and Silverforge and Kvaria, if that does turn into internal tension. I believe there's some sort of constitution in the Empire, actually, that would prevent Demaria from getting involved in an internal war between princes as long as no outsiders are brought in. And I believe that Kvaria is an insider. Oh, and they've all got elector ships now. Okay, so these three, I think, based on the rules, could attack Vern, and Demaria wouldn't get involved. I'm not entirely sure on that, so maybe that is a good counterbalance between the two. And then let's pivot up here, take a look at Arboran. Eco's still relatively weak. Up to date on tech and ideas. I'd really want to see them. Okay, they are finally moving in. Capturing more of these centers of trade and moving into Vertesk pretty rapidly. It'll be a big change for their eco if they can switch their center of trade from here to here. Obviously, 1, 2, 3 centers of trade would be extremely powerful if they can snag them. And then BPEC would be on the outside looking in that case. Yeah, so they'd be quite rich. But maybe they've got some sort of deal worked out. Obviously, they are allied with BPEC. Okay, moving on. Dead. And dead. So we'll skip that. Marhold, and I think this was the New Wanderers. They've formed something here. Oh, wow, it's got a pretty big tree. Marhold is quite large at this point. Eco's still relatively weak. And then the New Wanderers are a little bit smaller. But I think there's a way to divide. Let's do it by region. Yeah, if they stay in the like west Castanor and then inner and south go to Marhold, that would probably make sense. But we'll see where those borders form. Let's see how Marhold's doing on ideas. Up to date. A little bit behind on tech, nothing major, and way behind on ideas. Whew. Our goblin, or orc friends in the south, very large army. I believe this is the formable here. Yeah, they've got some Fey alignment. Let's see how they're doing. Behind and behind, but nothing too terrible. Eco's not super strong, but crazy levels of manpower. Holy cow. And, ooh, allied with our friends, the humans in the south. Oh, and our human friends. Okay, that'll be something to keep an eye on. We've got Shattered Crown expanding well. They have a vassal in the Ram Dwarves. We'll see what that expansion brings. I would have actually expected the Ram Dwarves to be a little bit more expanded by this point. They've got a lot of colonists. Yeah, I guess they're going. They're 4 colonies. Okay. And then, yeah, the issue is with the way the migration of the Ruby Company happened and how quickly Shattered Crown got to Ernat Veer. There wasn't a whole lot of colonizing in this direction. So it's going to take Shattered Crown a while before they can hit someone that they can eat. And that may actually be an issue for them. They're behind on tech, behind on ideas. Very weak eco. So yeah, that's going to be an issue for them. Obviously, they can expand into these dwarves, eat them pretty quickly, which will be nice. But yeah, I don't have high hopes for Shattered Crown based on that. But we'll see. I could be missing something. Moving to the south, we've got Ryul, allied, as we mentioned, with the Emerald Orcs and the Phoenix Empire wannabes. Obviously, Phoenix Empire's got a few vassals here, so it looks kind of gory, but it's actually not that bad. Decent manpower pool. Pretty strong eco. Up to date on tech and ideas. The issue they're going to have is they have 46 out of 100 to form their force formable, and they need a lot of what Phoenix Empire has. And then Phoenix Empire is at 78 of 100. Phoenix Empire can probably form without having to kill Raoul. Raoul cannot form its formable, probably without having to kill Aurelium. They are currently allied, so who knows. This formable has a really strong idea, 20% dev cost as one of their national ideas. And then I believe somewhere on here they get, where is it? On one of these missions, yeah, 10% dev cost if he's able to complete it. So you can get 30% dev cost reduction. Pretty powerful. We'll see what happens there. Not a ton of AIs left to eat for these folks. Obviously Harpylin and Varmhar, but besides that, it's pretty consolidated. Emerald Orcs, as you can see, have expanded into the mountains a little bit and have a vassal. So they've got quite a bit of expansion left. Marhold and New Wanderers have quite a bit left, as does Arboran. But a lot of these other folks are running out of space. So expect some player wars probably in the next 100 years. Catarata, allied to Aurelium, has some claims into the Empire. #1 great power, a lot of manpower, decent eco. So maybe they start bumping in this way, see what happens if you poke Vern and Demaria. That'll be something to keep an eye on. Obviously they can expand into this area a little bit. But yeah. Let's just make sure. Yeah, up to date on tech and ideas. Oh, you're a little bit behind, Phoenix Empire. They went religious. Interesting. What is the policy here? Is there good policy with quality? Am I missing it? Quality. Morale and siege. Yeah, pretty good. I think that's the same as vanilla. Then they went offensive and economic. Yeah, economic's pretty nerfed. But we'll see. Offensive's pretty good. Continuing our movement. Oh, whatever Ruby Company was trying to do, I think they had some difficulty getting in, so they're deadish. Jadari, I think, also was not able to show up, so they're deadish. This is a really interesting region. We've got these guys up to date on tech or ideas, just slightly behind on tech. Decent eco, decent manpower pool. This is their formable, right? No, I still think they have a button. Yeah. Oh, they need admin 8. And then they form their formable. They've got some expansion left into this direction. They've got dwarves to their north who are keeping up. Maybe a little bit, yeah, way behind on ideas, but otherwise keeping up. The diplomacy in this area is going to be really interesting. Command obviously still to be taken down. Onesie, Azakuma, the Elephant Lords, I assume all want a piece of the command. Bimlau's running out of space to expand. These people are running out of space to expand. These people are out of space. These people are pretty much out of space. So, as crowded as the Empire was, this region is extremely crowded. Van Rahar, decent manpower pool, a little bit behind on ideas. keeping up on tech. Elephant Lords, relatively low manpower pool. Oh, they have the tribal tribute mechanic. And then they also have, I'm not tabbed in, but yeah, some nice combat modifiers. 43%. Very nice. Let's just check their eco. Yeah, relatively strong eco. But there's still some eating to be done here. I would assume Vanrahar gets a chunk of this just based on their missions. Not a ton of overlap between these two, so maybe they've got something worked out. We'll see. Bim Lao, yeah, really rich. Because of the Gulf of Rehen. There's, oh, Vanrahar. Cut Bim Lao off from expanding this way. That's a strong move. But we'll see what happens moving forward. Relatively strong and allied with 1Z, so that's a pretty potent block right here. 1Z, weak eco, decent amount of manpower, keeping up on ideas, a little bit behind on tech. Whoa, that's a lot of manpower. That might be number one. Keeping up on ideas. Yeah. Strong eco as well. Who are they allied? They're allied with the Elephant Lords. Yeah, I gotta think that there's gonna be a player war between this faction and this faction. It's just how things look right now. And I'd probably give it to the Elephant Lord faction right now. Unless I'm missing something with these guys. And a pretty strong infantry combat. What's your force limits? 40. Almost 100. 40. 65. Yeah. I'd give it to the Elephant Lord team right now. But that'll be interesting to watch. Our friends here to the south. No ally to speak of. No real manpower. No real eco. So I could see these guys coming down and just munching on them at some point. Like keeping up with tech and a little bit behind on ideas. Then we've got our friends Fenton. They're currently at war with Azakuma. They're with the gold kobolds. Some war exhaustion. Relatively low manpower. Low manpower. Whoa, decent amount of debt. Low manpower. Oh, this is a bloody war. I'll have to watch the VOD for this. Who initiated this? Oni conquest of something or another. This thing. Yeah, so it looks like Azakuma declared it. Up to date. They're behind on tech, behind on ideas. They're behind on ideas, up to date on tech. Oh wow. Quite a bit more forces to deploy though. This will be an interesting one to see what happens here. I'd probably give it to the gold kobolds and Fenton, just from an outsider's look. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to watch. Overall, I believe it was a relatively quiet session. Blackbeard Cartel got taken down by the Emerald Orcs. I'm not entirely sure what happened. It's a little bit tough as an adventurer going. This region's really easy to consolidate quickly and then gives you a pretty big advantage from a manpower and force limit perspective. I assume that's what happened here. Personally, I think as Blackbeard Cartel, obviously you want to form Verkal Skolmdir, but maybe do it later. So like take Oddvald Ludholm and the rest of the section of the Serpent Spine, or as much as you can take, and then break into this area. Um, I know they popped into the Deep Woods last session because a player had declared on them. Um, but yeah, they're dead now, so that's tough. Looks like you could probably put someone in one of these centaurs, and then probably put someone in the Lake Federation, clean things up, and then maybe in Eordan, and then that's probably it for reseeds. It's going to be an interesting session. As I said, obviously Halis, we're running out of expansion options. Jadari can be carved up, but there's not a ton of value in this land, especially this section. There's a little value here. Plenty of room in the Serpent Spine for the players that are there. So yeah, maybe you could put someone here in Segdir. I'm not too familiar with the mission tree, but that could be an option. But yeah, things to keep an eye on. Tension between internal Imperial expansion. This area is getting crowded. Tension between the Western Imperials and the exploration folks. And then, yeah, I think Halis is going to be the most fun for the next couple of sessions. Yeah, it looks like things are shaping up well. Excited to see what next week brings.